Welcome to week 3 of the League of Legends and your video podcast provided by your commissioner, Juice Me Up, now Team Suicide Watch, Nathan McClung. Going to give you my breakdown for this week. First thing we want to look at here, I have the standings pulled up for you. Top 3 teams there. 4 teams are undefeated. Those are Titletown, Make America, Gronk again, Mighty Midgets, and Mr. Luckbox. And take a look at the points there. You can see certainly 2 of those teams have been far more dominant than the others in Mighty Midgets and Mr. Luckbox, taking a stronghold there on the points. If you look toward the bottom of the league, generally you're going to find the teams with fewer points. Another thing to pay attention to, points allowed. The leader generally in that category as far as defensive ability is Jason Stuffle. But you notice right now, there are a couple teams who have allowed fewer points than he has. Those are Gray Suman and Make America Gronk again. So Trampus, pretty easy schedule for you and Mayo, who is helping run the team. So good luck this week, guys. A lot of teams are 1-1. Some are 0-2, and we're not feeling very good because injuries and what have you, and we're just kind of whining. Before we get started, though, I would be remiss, as always, not to thank our podcast sponsor, and that is the Tesler, Adler, and Whalen Law Firm. I believe they're going to add Evans to that name soon. What they can do for you really is endless. They can get you out of jail if you were in jail. They can sue individuals. They can help you with custody battles. They can do pretty much anything you need them to do. Basically, you can commit crime without worrying if they are on your side. And I tell you what, they are on your side. Tesler, Adler, Whalen Law Firm. Look them up. They're in sunny, beautiful Noblesville. Trampus A. Whalen, the guy to go to in this league, certainly, and we appreciate what he does for us from a financial contribution standpoint. Team Suicide Watch against Shake and Bake. We'll just get right into it here. One thing you'll notice is both our teams suck. So a lot of injury tags there. Some from names you expect. Charles Clay and DeMarco Murray are injured a lot. But I just learned a moment ago when I clicked on Evan Ingram, my boy, that he is in the concussion protocol. So that's good. I'll be down another player this week. We'll see if I even bother to pick up a tight end. Jesse currently not bothering to start a kicker. This will not be a good match, I don't think. Team Suicide Watch could really use a win. But at this point, I don't even know that it matters, this dog crap team that I put together here. And Jesse's team, really not much better. It's led by Kirk Cousins, who he's awful. Zeke Elliott, we don't know what's going on with him. If you guys didn't see the play last week where Dak threw an interception and Zeke put his hands on his hips instead of attempting to make a play, it was very odd. And I know the Cowboys aren't really happy with Zeke right now, but certainly he's talented. Certainly he could run over Arizona. I don't think DeMarco Murray plays in that matchup at home against Seattle. Michael Crabtree is now the goal line back for Oakland. He had lots of touchdowns last week. So, stud, you play him. Washington secondary, I don't think it's anything to worry about. I mean, Norman's out there somewhere. I don't know how good he really is anymore anyway. And then Dez will be on Patrick Peterson. That's a tough matchup as well. So I don't love Jesse's matchups. Looking at my team, I don't really love it either. Big Ben on the road. Rodgers, tough Minnesota defense. Lynch. I just don't know what Marshawn's carries are going to be like, and I just made a trade for him, so I don't know what his upside really is. Kelvin Benjamin and Devontae Parker, both really good matchups for me, but who knows if I can get in the end zone. So this match here really is just not excited about it. Certainly anytime I play my dear friend Jesse Shawver, I do get excited. So we'll see what happens. Not going to spend as much time on this one because these guys aren't as dedicated followers. Tyler may listen, so maybe I'll just break down his team. As I suggested last week, I just am worried where the touchdowns come from on Tyler's team. And once again, last week he went off. He got 2 touchdowns from Emmanuel Sanders. Isaiah Crowell is a guy he's hoping to get some touchdowns this week playing the Indianapolis Colts. But Tyler has some guys who just, they're not going to consistently score touchdowns. And then you get Drew Brees on the road. I don't dislike Tyler's team. I just question whether he can go for 120 or whatever he scored last week again. the way that this team looks right now. I mean, certainly if he gets Luck back, he has a 30-point ceiling guy in Hilton. But to this point, Todd Gurley he's not running for lots of yards per carry. And Tyler has some other players on his team who he could put in here. But, a solid projected total of 102 basically going up against, this is Nathan Sucks, D's Nuts. And, at some point you have to consider another option at quarterback. I mean, Dak, his floor is pretty solid. He just hasn't looked good at all this year. Take a look at these running backs. I mean, McCoy and Henry. Tell you what, if Henry somehow gets an opportunity there, that dude is really, really good. Really, really good. And Jordy Nelson, you like every week. He's 50-50 to play, but, there's not a questionable tag there. Jordan Reed's probably not playing because he's Jordan Reed. So, you got to like Tyler in this spot. I think Tyler has one of the top 5 teams in the league. But, I just think it's been a very strange fantasy year. There just aren't points being scored in the NFL. You take a look at the guys drafted in the first few rounds. Lots of them haven't even scored a touchdown yet. So if you are one of those teams, you have some guys falling in the end zone. Case in point, Todd Gurley. That's certainly an advantage. So Mighty Midgets. I tell you what, we thought he reached, and he just has a good team. I don't know how I feel about LeGarrette Blount this week, but Ty Montgomery, man, he's looking like he should have been one of the first 5 picks off the board. C.J. Anderson just had a monster game. And if Trevor Siemian is decent, Adam has the best running back tandem maybe in the league. I know Foster and Jesse have good running backs as well. And I tell you what, I like these running backs over here too. But just the consistently you're going to see on these teams that are usually winning football games. And the touches certainly coming out of the backfield as well. Both really good pass-catching receivers. This is a great matchup here. I mean, this is just fantastic. The 3rd and 4th place finishers in our league last year. Trampus here rolling out his team. And I really like Leonard Fournette, as I've said. This is a tough matchup, but I don't really care. They're going to give him the ball. Cam, talk about a get-right spot. I'm hoping that Cam hits up Kelvin Benjamin a lot. I tell you, he targets him, but Cam he gets in these games, gets in these up-tempo, these fast-paced games on turf, and he throws high. So just watch for that. His career 53% completion percentage or whatever horrendous number. I don't think it's that bad. But Cam gets in some of those shootouts, and sometimes it's really good, but sometimes he throws high a lot, which can result in interceptions and obviously incompletions, which we all know that's Cam's favorite thing. Looking at Trampus's receivers, I was hating on them yesterday. I don't think they're awful. I actually like Keenan Allen. It's just, can he stay healthy? And then Golden Tate's a guy who, if you look at his history, he gets you 2 points a lot. And then sometimes he'll go for 15, but it's tough to know when. Certainly you like this matchup, again, in a dome. Trampus has really some pretty solid situations here this week that I actually really like. He's got Melvin Gordon. Gillislee scored 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs. So looking over here at Adam's team, just once again, I think at some point Brandon Cooks has a big game. So whether that's this week or not, I think will be a big teller in who wins this. I don't know that Gronk plays this week. And just, I think this is going to be a great, great matchup. I almost hate to pick it, but I'm going to do what I probably shouldn't do because I have to pay for this show. I'm going to pick the Mighty Midgets. I just like where this team is. I like the matchups a little bit better. And I think Trampus has a very, very good team. But I'm just afraid Gronk misses this week. And I think that's the difference in that matchup. But both playoff teams, both very good teams. Some of my favorite players in the entire league are on those teams. Probably my 2 favorite backs this year maybe are Leonard Fournette and Ty Montgomery. Who would have ever thought that? Mr. Luckbox in Titletown. Once again, as I said last week, you got to pick Mr. Luckbox until he has shown any sign of vulnerability, which I think he kind of has if you're paying attention. Devonta Freeman, he scored a couple touchdowns last week, I do believe, but Lev Bell, not looking very good. And even if you look into Freeman a little more, his yards per touch, not as high as you might like it to be for a guy who is a receiving back as well, and also has had a couple good matchups. But DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, that's the one I think has got to be frustrating Adam just a little bit. The play of Michael Thomas which I think largely relates or correlates with the play of Drew Brees. So Adam is going to need Michael Thomas to kind of perform at a higher level if he truly wants to have an elite team. But I tell you what it's all about is Kareem Hunt is lumped in with those other two running backs I mentioned, and he will be a top 5 running back if he stays healthy, and that's just something that puts Adam's team over the top right now, and it's difficult to pick against him, as I said. And certainly when you look at Gray's team, Jay Ajayi, if he plays, could have a whole bunch of points against the Jets. Odell Beckham, man, I saw a statistic on the Giants offense, and they haven't scored, I forget exactly what the statistic was, but they haven't scored over 20 points in something like 14 games, or it was a lot of games. So, you just don't even know, and Beckham doesn't look right. Eli looks horrible. That team is just in shambles, so I think Gray is going to need Beckham to kind of come through. But buddies and hide your children here. Let's take a look at this. Danny and I have kind of text back and forth a little bit about how horrendous our teams are. So that being said, I will pick Michael. Looking at Michael's team here, Carlos Hyde is someone who, against the Rams, he's hoping has a good day. And last week got it in the volume. Great rushing day there against Seattle, which was really, really impressive. Frank Gore looked young. And, he's playing the Browns this week in a game the Colts are underdogs, which to me seems a little crazy. But I like that. And I think at some point Michael's receivers have to perform. Julio is a guy who it seems like when he goes off, he really goes off. But he just doesn't have that consistency, and it really never really makes sense. But it's become a pattern. So I think Julio and Doug Baldwin, as well as Eric Ebron, again, and just great matchups there. And some good spots there. I think Michael's team this week finds a way to get into the end zone a little more. Look for maybe 3 touchdowns out of those 2 receivers. And I think he has enough to take that down. Here we have Antonio Brown's earlobe against the Lollipop Guild. I like this one, Luke. This is probably my favorite team name thus far. Plus, I can actually say it on the air. Looking at this matchup, man, I tell you what, this is very, very interesting. And Jason, you see, is they're parlaying the Matt Stafford with Amir Abdullah, who is a horrible running back. But I'm the only one who thinks that. So I guess 3 seasons of sample size isn't enough. Actually, Jason, believe it or not, I like Lamar Miller this week. I think Lamar Miller has a chance against New England to be involved in the passing game and get you in the end zone, my friend. So congratulations. Lamar Miller will get in the end zone this week. AJ Green. Andy Dalton is just really, really hurting AJ Green. Throw AJ Green the ball every play. I just don't understand how the guy gets through games that they're losing and only has 7-8 targets. It makes no sense. And AJ Green was on the sidelines yelling, I believe, last week, as he should be. I mean, the dude is a stud. Demaryius Thomas has been a little overshadowed by Emmanuel Sanders, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. Remember, the questionable tags, don't really worry about them. There's no probable anymore. Zach Ertz and Alshon against the Giants. Kind of interesting to me. The Giants, while they can't play offense, they can play defense. So I think it'll be interesting who Jason rolls out there this week. But looking at Antonio Brown's earlobe, this is a team that's 0-2, and I think they're better than 0-2. This is a team that has Antonio Brown, has Mike Gillislee. At some point, we'll have Joe Mixon, especially if the Bengals continue to be terrible at football. And, you have Aaron Rodgers there at the top. So Luke, he drafted a quarterback early, and he drafted a young running back early. And that's part of the reason for his early struggles. But Luke's team, I think, has some ability there with Kenny Galladay and Terrell Pryor. Pryor and other guys just letting people down this year. But, again, I think that's Kirk Cousins being not very good at football. If you look at what's happened there in those games, just turning the ball over, not throwing for yards, and just not being very good. So I'm going to take Antonio Brown's earlobe this week. I think this is a spot where Aaron Rodgers, Antonio Brown, and Mike Gillislee for Luke's team carry him to a close win. My lock of the week win over Jason Stuffle. Exit music this week is a classic from back in my day. Cassie, Me and You. If you want to check it out, it's spelled me, and then the and sign, and then you. It's a very, very fresh beat, guys. Good luck this week. Lock of the week, Luke takes down Jason. Jason, you need to be involved in the lock of the week. Good luck to everybody this week. Jesse, man. Ooh, it's been a while since we've been involved in a match like this where our teams are just in such bad spots, man. But Trampus, thanks for sponsoring the show. Cassie has a great personality.